What's up everybody? I hope you're doing well. So I was trying to look up some inspiration for a video idea because I wanted to look into like alternatives to traditional mental health therapy, and in my YouTube searching I saw this video pop up in the search results that intrigued me. It's titled, "I Tried Alternative Therapies to Treat My Anxiety," from Vice. Now I haven't watched this video yet and I thought it would be really interesting to watch it together, and whatever comes up in this video I can share my reaction with you all. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Dr. Marie Fang. I'm a psychologist in private practice, and I also make videos on YouTube teaching about private practice and now expanding to all things related to the therapy field because that's what I felt like doing. So here we are now talking about whatever, I don't know what we're talking about. Let's find out. Here we go. Maybe this is going to be a learning experience for me. Let's find out what happens to Hannah Ewens. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Trying out these alternative therapies.
Waking up, unable to shift low-level anxiety, dreading the return to the millennial hustle. This is no life. What is the remedy beyond binning it all off and heading for the hills? I already spend £60 a week on talking therapy, and after a quick Google, I realised the latest alternative therapies were all close enough to my house to try.
Doesn't hurt to try a little bit, see what happens.
The frequencies from these instruments actually put you in theta brainwave mode, which creates an environment for serotonin. So it really helps reduce stress and take those anxiety levels down.
And what do I have to do? Do I just lie here and let the gongs take me away?
Yeah. So the best way to approach a session is to just really be in a sense of surrender about it and just allow whatever's coming up for you to come up.
Therapy where I have to do no work, that sounds ideal.
Yeah.
Therapy where I have to do no work. Ooh, it sounds too good to be true. I'll have to look up information about what the Soundbath Therapy actually does to your brain. I have this feeling that maybe what it is really going to be meditation, because when we talk about meditation, a lot of folks have the misconception that meditation is the emptying of your brain of all things. But actually, meditation is focusing on just one thing. That's why we often pick things like focusing on your breath or focusing how your body feels and doing a body scan, or maybe you're focusing on the environment around you, like the sounds. So I could imagine if it was the right type of sound frequency that it really captured your full attention, that it could really make it a lot more accessible to enter a meditative state, which we do have a lot of research to show that that is beneficial for so many reasons. So let's just see what happens.
So just closing down the eyes. Give yourself permission to relax, to receive, and to surrender to the experience. When you're ready, you can open your eyes just gently.
I feel like tired but also more awake.
Yeah, it does that.
I was having certain images and feelings, sort of like a dreamlike experience.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any relevance to what comes up?
It's that surreal state when you're just going off to sleep and you have all these weird thoughts and you're like, am I awake or am I asleep? It's basically the gateway to the subconscious. So always pay attention to those feelings because they're coming from somewhere and they're like messengers.
Thank you so much, Louise. I really genuinely enjoyed it.
Oh, pleasure. Okay, I will say that seemed very relaxing, maybe similar to something like getting a massage, going to a spa, getting a special treatment, and it reminds me a lot of certain categories of ASMR videos as well. So I wonder if there was a very similar relaxing element for her where it's kind of layering that meditative practice that's a little bit more passive, kind of like lying out at the beach when you hear the waves rolling in and all of that, where it's just kind of naturally meditative and you don't have to be as intentional about leaning into that. Is that based on any scientific research on my end? No, these are just some theory thought. hypotheses that I have.
Okay, I couldn't help myself. So while I'm editing this video, I did a little bit of a Google Scholar search related to the effectiveness of sound baths, and it looks like there's a pretty decent amount of research that supports the effectiveness of sound baths. This article published in the Journal of Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine showed that this type of sound bath was especially useful in decreasing tension, anxiety, depression, and increasing spiritual well-being. I also found an article published in the International Journal of Psychotherapy Practice and Research that shows that this type of sound bath improves positive affect and reduction in negative affect, and it also corresponded with a significant reduction in both heart rate and stress levels. Now, whether all of this is just simply the same type of results that you'd get from any type of meditation in general versus something specific to the sound bath, I'm not sure of, but it clearly is evidence-based.
Sidebar, I just realized I have this mess on my desk. That didn't happen.
I'm on my way to BreathPod. They use a method called Transformational breathwork, which basically involves releasing traumas through hyperventilation and a lot of belly poking.
So we're going to do a deep breathing practice. This practice, basically, we open up through the physical restrictions, but also what we do as humans, when we are going through different emotional states, we hold our breath to stop feeling those emotions as they arise.
So we're going to feel the feelings as we're drawing them out, and then we're releasing them.
Yeah.
So it's about like finding the bricks and throwing the bricks away.
Spot on.
I mean, that's an interesting theory. I don't know if that's actually how it works or not. I genuinely don't know, but it is true. When we find ourselves in a fearful situation or when we're having difficulty tolerating our emotional state, we tend to hold our breath. It's like, when you're really nervous and you're going to get on the roller coaster or give that talk, and you're going on that first date and does that mean that if you hyperventilate, that helps? I don't know about hyperventilating. We'll see what this actually looks like. Certainly deep breathing is a way of signaling to your body that there's no need to be afraid. You're kind of deactivating the system by telling your body, hey, because you're deep breathing, there's nothing to worry about, man. Hyperventilating, though, does tend to induce anxiety in general. So I'm really interested in seeing what they're going to do.
It's safe to breathe. It's safe to be in my body. That's it. It's safe to feel. Does any emotions good? If it's laughter, we can let that go too. It's safe to express who I am. Inhale. Okay, let's do some toning and movement. And straight back to the breath. Inhale. In and out the mouth. Good. Open your mouth. It's safe to let go of the past. I love and forgive everyone. Okay, let's do some toning again. Really go for it. And breathe.
I feel quite high. I feel nice though. I felt like I really cleared out my body. I think I do feel more focused.
You feel more grounded in your body.
I definitely feel more grounded.
That was interesting. There was a lot more going on than just the breathing. In addition to breathing, she was moving her body and she was also making sounds, which is maybe part of the breathing. But it kind of reminds me a bit of progressive muscle relaxation, just a very different version of it. With progressive muscle relaxation, the idea is that you potentially tense up specific muscles. Say right now I'm tensing my bicep, and then you hold, and you release. And when you tense a muscle first, before releasing it, it's a lot easier to enter a state of relaxation than if you hadn't tensed it at all and you just said, okay, try to relax every muscle in your body. I wonder if there could be some of that going on where she's wiggling all over the place and then relax.
The breathing session had left me more relaxed, but my long-standing fear of water is setting off my nerves as I mentally and emotionally prepare to plunge into a sensory deprivation tank.
This is going to be intense. The float or the sensory deprivation tank is the only item on this list that I have any familiarity with, though I've never actually done it myself. But if Hannah is afraid of water, then this is going to be interesting because there's a lot to be afraid of in the tank. Show you the pod now.
Oh my god.
Cool.
Oh my god.
Yes. It's cool, right? Try not to get the water in your eyes.
Hannah's freaking out. Okay, I mean, I'm not afraid of water, and I would be feeling nervous, so.
As it's full of Epsom salts, so it will sting a little bit.
Have you ever had anyone have a panic attack in there?
No, we haven't.
Okay, no. I've had clients have a panic attack inside the float tank, so maybe at this place they've never had it happen, or they just don't disclose that. It can be terrifying for people who are prone to anxiety. I do know that.
I'm just gonna get in now.
You could do it, Hannah. It's gonna be okay.
The lights were down, the ambient sounds were on, and I was ready to float away. That was until...
Oh, you guys! I've got so much stuff in my eye! I can't get it out of my eye! Please help! Chris, my experience was that I found it incredibly hard to relax. Do you think that potentially it could have taken me a bit longer to have got something out of it because of a fear of water?
What I would say is if you're fearful of water, I think this would be the perfect place in order to find that relaxed state, because if you can do it in there, in the water, realising it's a completely safe space, I think that would be a very, very powerful experience for you, because you'd be releasing that fear and going into this deeply, deeply relaxed state, and that's probably where something quite special and magical could happen for you.
There's like maybe some science in what that founder just said, and maybe some missed critical important pieces of information. If somebody has a fear, there is an option to just kind of go all in and face your fears. We call this flooding. That means like if, let's say, have an intense phobia of flying, to do a flooding experience would mean that I'm gonna just go straight on an airplane, try to take that airplane through turbulent skies and make it a super long flight, and I'm gonna go by myself, and I'm not gonna have any medication to rely on or anything along those lines, and I'm gonna face my fears. And by the time I get off that airplane, I've been exposed to it for so long, I realize nothing bad happened, that hopefully my fears are gone. This used to be practiced more often, and generally this isn't such an acceptable practice now. If somebody has a genuine fear that's escalated to an extent that it's looking closer to a phobia, then rather than just saying, why don't you just get on that airplane even though you're deathly afraid of it, you'd want to progressively, carefully, cautiously expose that person step by step to things that are just a little bit more challenging than the last step, and then get to a point of relaxation until you move on just one more step, slightly more anxiety provoking. This technique is called systematic desensitization, and not only is it validated in the research as being proven as effective in helping people overcome their significant fears, but it is something that feels less overwhelming, more manageable. If you throw someone in a float tank like this, they're anxious the entire time, and they exit while they're still in a state of anxiety before their body has had a chance to physiologically relax at least somewhat. Then the moment that they're getting out of that float tank reinforces that anxiety further. So this is one of the many reasons why we approach fears with a systematic desensitization approach rather than this flooding approach, because you run the risk that now what might have happened with Hannah is that you're just still as scared as you were before, and sometimes more scared than you were before. Okay, that was maybe more than you wanted to hear about it. Let's keep watching.
What a load of nonsense. Maybe I can't meditate. Maybe I just didn't want to lie in a lukewarm bath. Ultimately, I couldn't relax due to the niggling belief that I would be the first person to drown in an isolation tank. Now for my final session, the emotional freedom technique. I'm hoping this will tap away at some of my more general anxieties.
Rachel, could you tell me exactly what tapping is? Because I've seen a lot of stuff on the internet and I'm not exactly sure.
It really is tapping on a series of different points in the body which link to different meridian lines, and it also works with your conscious mind, your unconscious mind and your subconscious mind. It's really, really important that what's being said resonates with you, even though I have anxiety
I have anxiety
about writing.
about writing.
I find it really hard to concentrate.
I find it really hard to concentrate.
I choose
I choose
to love and accept myself anyway.
to love and accept myself. I am safe.
And then take your rest. And take a nice deep breath. And exhale.
I'm feeling like I've been in quite like a deep meditative state. Thank you so much, Rachel.
You're welcome.
That was weird, but I liked it.
Now this one's so interesting. I don't personally have any knowledge myself about this tapping technique, but I do know therapists in the field who use it. And I'm not personally acquainted with whether it's based in any evidence or not, but I have had clients come in to see me for anxiety specifically who said they've had a previous therapist use this type of tapping technique and they found it helpful. So I don't know if it's based in science, I don't know if it's the placebo effect, but I like to say even the placebo effect is still a real effect. I'll need to look into that more.
Okay, so curiosity got the best of me, and while I was editing this video, I looked into the emotional freedom technique a little bit further, and indeed there is quite a bit of evidence suggesting that it does correlate with improvements in mental health concerns. However, it's worth noting that there's maybe some nuance to these results because the emotional freedom technique incorporates a lot of different tools, including the tapping as well as cognitive behavioral therapy. And so there is some research suggesting that it may actually be the cognitive behavioral therapy component rather than specifically the tapping that's offering beneficial value for mental health concerns. Either way, if you find it helpful, it's beneficial. So if you're into the tapping, by all means, go get some EFT. And if you don't want to be tapped, you can also just get some CBT.
Rachel's tapping about had genuinely helped to calm me, and I was feeling really positive about my work.
Okay.
I'm on my way home for some traditional and no-cost bed therapy.
Whew, well, I enjoyed watching that. What a unique presentation of different alternative therapies. I will say I'm all about taking a multi-dimensional approach to our mental health. In fact, it would be really terrible news if the only thing you could do to help your mental health is to see a therapist. In fact, our job as a therapist is to work ourselves out of a job, so to speak. We want our clients to get better and not need us anymore because maybe they can leverage other strategies, have a robust support system outside of seeing us. So if somebody were to find one or all of these techniques helpful and in their budget and supporting their mental health, by all means, I'm in. What I wouldn't want to happen is for someone to say, you don't need to see a therapist because here I found this other technique that's just as good or better. And that's probably not the case. There might be some people who benefit from some of these techniques and other people who really don't, like how we saw Hannah kind of freaking out with the sensory deprivation tank, but then some of the other strategies, Hannah was really into them. So there's no one-size-fits-all therapy for all people. I had a lot of fun watching that video and offering some of my thoughts and reactions to it, and kudos to Hannah for trying all of those different things. It does take a lot of courage, not only to try new things, but for new things and publish it in a video for I think it's 200,000 plus people to see. Kudos to Hannah. And I couldn't help but notice that there were those little cards that popped up throughout the video with other similar types of videos available on alternative types of therapies. So let me know in the comments if you enjoyed watching this video, and I'm more than happy to do more of these, maybe reacting to some of these other videos that Vice has, or if you have any recommendations, you can put them in the comments below. And I'm more than interested in checking them out. And before we close, I'd like to thank TherapyNotes.com for sponsoring this video. TherapyNotes is a practice management system which covers all of your needs related to running your practice, from scheduling to notes to billing, and they have a HIPAA-secure telehealth platform. If you'd like to check out TherapyNotes, you can get 2 months to try it for free with no commitment just by clicking the link in the description of this video. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and if you let me know that you're interested in seeing more videos like this, then I'm looking forward to making more of them. And until next time, from one therapist to another, or whomever you might be, I wish you well.